All right, let's talk about the Mack attack. Mack Hansen has been banned for 3 weeks, reduced from 6. There's some other hoops he's got to jump through as well, but he will be available for Ireland and the Six Nations opener against England in Dublin. But he won't be able to play until then, and this is due to his comments in the aftermath of the game just before Christmas between Connacht and Leinster. Mack Hansen not happy with the quality and level of officiating, and he voiced his thoughts in a press conference, and he has been punished for it. A lot in this story. I mean, firstly, when I say Mack attack, that you may well interpret that as this is about Mack Hansen's attack on the officials, but equally you might come at this and interpret that as this is about an attack on Mack Hansen from the powers that be, handing down an unfair ban. And I can see the nuance in this one, and there's a lot of areas I want to cover on this video. For one, players expressing themselves and not behaving like robots. Respect for officials, and is it under threat? Is the quality of officiating good enough? Is the support for the officials good enough? Does the punishment fit the crime? I think there's a lot of areas to cover on this one, and that's what I'm going to do. And I appreciate you watching. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers, and leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love it if I haven't already, if I would earn your subscription. So what is this incident then? Just to remind you, this press conference went viral a little bit just before Christmas. It is available to watch online if you want to, but basically after the Interpro game between Connacht and Leinster just before Christmas in the URC, Mack Hansen, after Connacht lost, went in with his coach. His coach was kind of tiptoeing around some officiating decisions, and Mack Hansen said, "Here, coach, do you mind if I say a few words?" And he did say a few words, including, but like I say, see the video if you want to see them all. He said, quote, "I felt we were getting reffed out of the game for the first 40 minutes. We get this every week. We never get any calls, ever." He then compared the difference between the way two different incidents were officiated and said it's BS and it's starting to really frustrate us. There was a lot of emotion in the comments that he made. Like I say, various thoughts on this that I touched on. The first one I want to put out there is Mack Hansen is a treasure. One of my favourite rugby players because of the bloke that he is. He is not a typical rugby union stock. I mean, before he moved to Ireland and started playing for Connacht and then Ireland, he was in Australia working as a barman. And I mean, he just doesn't behave like a typical rugby player, and I love him for that. And I never want to minimise that or squeeze that out of him, which I think rugby is guilty of doing. Quite often we sort of incentivise the players to just fit into the nice little boxes, talk in the correct way with the correct language, say the right things, don't ruffle any feathers. And I think that's to the detriment of rugby. And I hope that we can celebrate a guy like Mack Hansen, who is just not like the rest of them. Look at him after a game, regularly getting down to his budgie smugglers and going out and signing autographs. Andy Farrell, his coach, is taking photographs of him. Like you can see, so Andy Farrell is like a working class fella from Wigan in the northwest of England, just up the road from where I am, in fact. And rugby league man. And I think you can tell Andy Farrell absolutely loves Mack Hansen. I mean, Mack Hansen's got an Andy Farrell tattoo. You can just see it on his right leg. I don't know if it was off the back of a bet when they won a Grand Slam, perhaps. I don't know why he's got an Andy Farrell tattoo, but I love that he's got an Andy Farrell tattoo. It's hilarious. But Mack Hansen will, go out there in his budgie smugglers. He behaves in a way most rugby players don't, and I think we should celebrate that. And rugby, we shouldn't try and squeeze the big characters and the unique characters that we've got into the same identikit robot boxes. So I hope we're not squeezing the life out of Mack Hansen with this. Joe Marler, who is another one of those big characters that the game has produced, well, he gave his thoughts on the ban that Mack Hansen got, saying it was, quote, utter bollocks. Is rugby a bit too sanitised? Do we come down harder on the big characters of the game? Let me know what your thoughts in the comments. What I will say is Joe Marler doesn't agree with the ban, but Mack Hansen doesn't agree with Joe Marler, because Mack Hansen has made a statement in the wake of this ban. And he said, if I can get it up, there we go. Mack Hansen said, "I let my emotions get the better of me. My comments were ill-advised and fell short of the standards I expect of myself and what the sport expects of its players. I want to offer an apology. Our game is built on mutual respect, and I did not show that after the game." Fair play, Mack Hansen, for that apology. He's copped the punishment, which, like I say, I think Connacht, is it a £10,000 fine? Mack Hansen, a 3-week ban reduced from 6. There's other elements he's got to go through with this as well. What comes to mind when I think about this incident is it was Nigel Owens caught on ref mic that one time saying to a couple of players, "This is not soccer." And I do think, and Mack Hansen has acknowledged it here, he crossed the line. For all the stuff I said about wanting Mack Hansen's character to be celebrated and not trying to squeeze him into the usual rugby-shaped box, he did cross a line. And that line is quite a simple one. Well, let's go back to his quotes. What did he say again? He said, "I felt we were getting refed out of the game for the first 40 minutes. That's fine. I've got no problem with that. The line he crossed is when he said, "We get this every week. We never get any calls, ever. It's BS." Basically, the line Mack Hansen crossed was questioning the integrity of the referees. I've got no problem, and sometimes I think we're a little bit too sanitised with letting people have opinions on decisions. He could have had opinions on the decisions without calling into question the referee's integrity, suggesting that there's cheating or an agenda or a conspiracy. When you cross that line, then you're in. Well, I won't sanction that, and I don't think it should be acceptable. And Mack Hansen, from his comments, knows that wasn't acceptable. So I think it's a pretty clear line in the sand to draw, isn't it? There is no conspiracy, there is no agenda, there is no cheating, and there is no bias. Now, I've been lucky enough to spend time with quite a bunch of top-level referees. You know what? The referees would be the first ones to sit on a Monday morning after a game, look at decisions and go, "Yeah, I might have got that one wrong. I think I might do that differently next time." None of them are deliberately with an agenda going out and cheating. That's the sort of perspective a fan has watching on telly or in the stands, that like fans always just see the decisions that go against them and they never see the ones that go their way. And that's, again, what I love about Mack Hansen. He's talking about rugby like a fan talks about rugby. And I don't want to squeeze that out of him, but there are lines you can't cross. And he did cross a line. And it's quite interesting to see that Chris Busby, the referee that was officiating that game back in December, is retiring from officiating. Now, he has said it's due to personal reasons. He hasn't come out and said it's because of the incident with Mack Hansen, but it has been suggested from other quarters, and again, I don't know the truth of this, but it's been suggested that this was a tipping point moment. Now, I would not blame Mack Hansen for that. It's important to point out. Mack Hansen's copped a ban, his club have copped a fine, all the rest of it. It's not Mack Hansen's fault if Chris Busby has retired. I suspect Chris Busby, if it's got anything to do with it, is frustrated about the powers that be and a lack of support for him on this subject. I mean, it has been a little while. Nothing's been said. It just created this vacuum. If the powers that be thought that Mack Hansen was out of order, you would have thought they would have come out and said, "We're investigating this. We're not happy about it. Referee's integrity is beyond question, and we will deal with Mack Hansen in the new year." But the fact that they kind of said nothing might be the reason why Chris Busby went, "Where's the support, guys?" Because like I say, I've spent time with Chris Busby. He's a good bloke, and he is not a cheat or biased or have an agenda. So I would defend him to the hilt on that one. So that's but important to say, this is not Mack Hansen's fault whatsoever. On the actual punishment itself, does the punishment fit the crime? That's another question I want to delve into. Tell me what you think. So it was a 6-week ban reduced to 3 weeks. Connacht to cop to fine. Mack Hansen has to complete a refereeing course and feed back his learnings to his teammates. And he also has to give a presentation to his teammates on how to conduct an appropriate post-match press conference. By the way, rugby's not flush with cash at the minute. Can we record these presentations and make them pay-per-view? Because I would pay good money to watch Mack Hansen doing this. I mean, just gold. The people that get to keep hold of these videos, I hope we get to see them one day, because it just sounds dynamite. And he also has to apologise to Chris Busby, which I'm sure will be done man to man at some point. But just on the refereeing point, it's not just Chris Busby, if this has got anything to do with it. Wayne Barnes said, it became unbearable. Tom Foley has retired from rugby due to citing abuse and stuff like that. So I do think it's something, it's a tough balancing act. You want the players to be authentic. You want the line in the sand to be clear. Cannot abide calling a referee a cheat or biased or having an agenda. I think you could argue it's a tough tightrope to walk along, but it's just one we got to. As for the ban, what do you think of the 3-week ban? How does it compare to other ones? Well, the one that instantly came to mind, Johnny Sexton. He was in the stands for that 2023 Champions Cup final between Leinster and La Rochelle, and he was incensed at Jaco Piper, the referee, for, did he give a red card to Alan Alatoa? Anyway, whatever the case, Johnny Sexton got a 3-match ban, exactly the same as Mack Hansen. Now, Mack Hansen, there's some people going, a 3-match ban? Okay, when does that mean he's available? Oh, funnily enough, for the Six Nations. Something quite similar happened with Johnny Sexton. He got banned, he got dealt with. He got a 3-week ban, reduced, I think, just like Mack Hansen's, from 6. And when's Johnny Sexton available? Oh, look at that, for the first Rugby World Cup match. England has done this before. It could be coincidence. It could not be coincidence. I've got no issue with that generally. What I think I do have an issue with is I think Johnny Sexton's was worse, much worse. Yes, Mack Hansen said it in a press conference and directly called into question a referee's integrity. Johnny Sexton followed Jaco Piper and the officials around the pitch multiple times, immediately following the final whistle, and called into question their integrity using, well, expletives and stuff like that. And he did it in quite a menacing way, just following them around the pitch. And he's the captain, and he wasn't even playing. So I don't know. I guess there's an equivalence with the two of them. Arguably, Mack Hansen's been dealt a little bit harshly compared to Johnny Sexton if they both got the same ban. Equally, well, here's another one, and we have to go back basically a decade for this one. I think 2013, and in a Premiership final, Dylan Hartley called Wayne Barnes a cheat and got a red card for it, and an 11-week ban. 11 weeks. Compare that to 3 weeks for Mack Hansen and Johnny Sexton and others. 11 weeks. He missed the British and Irish Lions tour as a result. Now, Wayne Barnes, when he retired, said that the level of abuse that referees getting is getting bad. It's getting worse. I can anecdotally say this. I've been coaching my son's rugby team, a university rugby team. I've refereed in my time. The amount of abuse that refs are getting in games from players and from the touchlines is ratcheting up slowly. Maybe it's inevitable, but I think it's, you wonder, you look back and go, an 11-week ban versus a 3-week ban in 2024, is that why the level of issues has gone up? Or is it the impact of social media? I don't know. There's a whole lot of conversations. What I will say, going back to it, is Mack Hansen's come out and said, I got it wrong. He's copped his ban. He's not missing the Six Nations, which I'm really pleased about, because what a character, and I want to see him part of the Six Nations. And as much as he's going to get to play against England, my team, in Dublin, I want him to be involved. It's a big year, British and Irish Lions year, and I'd hate the fact that if he missed an opportunity to go back to his homeland of Australia to play against them because he wasn't available to show what he's capable of in the Six Nations, and missed it as a result. Like I say, there's a lot of moving parts here. Does the punishment fit the crime? Are we making rugby too sanitised and taking the personalities out of rugby? Did Mack Hansen do anything wrong? What is the line that you cannot cross? And is it that one of calling referees cheats? Or are we just being too precious? A lot wrapped up in it. I would love to know your thoughts. Hopefully I've started a conversation, and I'll be down there in the comments with you. I'll see you on the next one.